Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Working Trader, where we look at the Euro USD and GBPUSD and come up with trade ideas for the day, if there are any. So, looking at Forex Factory, today is a Tuesday, and we also do not have any high impact news. So, let's look at the charts and let's see what we can expect. So, looking at Euro USD, our swing is bearish on the daily. Okay, so our swing is bearish on the daily. We do expect that after a breakout structure, we do expect a pullback at some point. So we did have these 3 days of price coming back into the range, and then on Monday, yesterday, we had an indecision, or rather an inside bar candle. Okay, and then today's Tuesday, the opening, it looks like we've had a strong bearish push so far during the Asia session. So obviously the context is that we're bearish, and we can expect either a continuation, because we don't know how long that pro trend run is going to continue. However, because we had a breakout structure, we can also equally anticipate that a pullback can start at any point. So on the pound is similar as well. We are in a bullish trend overall on the daily. However, the current market conditions, they are a bit bearish. As we can see, we had this pullback after mitigating this area of demand. We pushed up, swept these areas, mitigated into premium, and then price began to continue to drop. And then now we have swept these lows, mitigating again this extreme demand, and we've had a reaction, not a very strong one, but we've had a reaction, and right now price looks like it's continuing with that bearish momentum. So looking at the 4H and focusing on EU, our swing range is bearish, and this is our range at the top, and this is our range low. So we did mitigate an area of demand on the 4H, which has resulted in this push up in price, this reaction. So what we see is that we've had that reaction, and we still have had this very strong bearish push down. Now, whether this is going to continue, whether price is going to continue bullish or price is going to keep dropping, remains to be seen. Okay, so we have to then react to what we see price do. So looking at the 15-minute for our intraday look, so our swing on the 15-minute is bearish, and then our internal is bearish. But within this bearish internal leg, okay, price started to make a pullback. Okay, after we had breakout structure, we had this long run that we had mitigated into this area of demand on the 4H, and this 15-minute, which is nested in that 4H, which is at the extreme. And then we started to see price pushing up, and then this became the current range that we were in, or that we are in. And then within that range, this is our decisional. Okay, this is our decisional, and price right here did mitigate this decisional, but because these were Asia lows, yesterday we were expecting or anticipating that price would push a bit lower, sweep this, and then we could then start looking for longs. However, price just continued and never looked back. So in the bigger context of this internal range, this is what we have. So in the bigger context, we are bearish. Swing is bearish, internal is bearish. We've had this internal push. Okay, we've mitigated this decisional, which led to this internal breakout structure and this extended push afterwards. And price mitigated first time, came a bit lower, did break this sub-internal structure as well, and then had a reaction but failed to make a higher high, failed to break higher. So we've still respected. So we have mitigated premium. Okay, we have mitigated premium. So there's two possibilities here. We can expect price to either continue bearish, which is the trend, right, which is following the swing and the internal trend currently, okay, or price could still continue bullish, maybe towards this extreme, or even completely reversing and starting the pullback on the higher time frames as well. So as of now, we do not know what price will do, but all we can do is react to what we see price doing. So in this instance, my focus would be on the fact that we do have this area which I suspect is going to be run over, or at least I would want to see it run over, and then price mitigating into this decisional demand, okay, after sweeping these lows. So we'll have a structural low and Asia lows, okay, and then after, then I could start looking for longs, okay. So that's if this happens, if this scenario happens. And then the other scenario would be that price is actually going to continue bearish, okay. If that's the case, that price is going to continue bearish, as of now, there's nothing that we can really look at. There's like structural levels that I'm seeing, they are all the way up here, okay. So price would have to break maybe these areas, mitigate this extreme, okay, and then kind of have a slow reaction to the upside, build something up, and then maybe look to see if there's anything meaningful for us to target going back down, okay. So as it stands right now, if price decides to continue bearish, there is no structure really to focus on. So it may be that we may only be waiting for price maybe to come up, sweep these areas, and then maybe start looking for price to switch bearish again. Understanding that in this instance, we will be at least trying to go with the internal, okay, and the swing trend. The substructure within this internal range is currently bullish, okay. So it's currently bullish. So what that means is this is our sub internal range, okay. So we could still come lower, mitigate this extreme, and still come back up and take this high out, okay. So that is another possibility as well. So those will be with the things that I'll be looking at in terms of seeing how price develops, and then seeing what would be an appropriate reaction during our key time windows, okay. So during the London session, okay. So that's it for EU. So let's look at GU. So in GU, starting on 4H, we did break structure, okay. Let me update. So we did break structure to the downside. So that means our swing high is up there, and then this is our internal high. So our swing and internal, they're both aligned, which is bearish. And then after break of structure, we do expect some kind of pullback, and this could be that pullback. And because we've mitigated a demand area at the extreme on the daily, that could be an indication that possibly that pullback is starting, okay. However, because we didn't break these highs as yet, price can still continue bearish. Okay, can still continue bearish. So looking at the 15-minute for intraday decision making, so our swing is bearish. This is our swing range, and then our current internal range is this one. That's our current internal range. And then we see price breaking structure, sub-internal to the upside. We've mitigated the extreme. Okay, we've mitigated the extreme, and then price started pushing lower. So this is similar scenario. So yesterday we were also expecting price to at least sweep these lows. Okay, to at least sweep these lows before we start looking for price to continue to the upside. However, that didn't happen. Price just broke structure. Price just broke structure and then came low and then pushed to the upside. Okay, so looking at today, so it's the same interpretation as on the EU. This could signal that the pullback is complete and now price is ready to target this weak internal low. Okay, so in this case we will be pro swing, pro internal, so that means we have everything aligned. Okay, so that would be a high probability scenario in terms of looking for shorts, and because we've also mitigated the extreme. Now we can see price did make a low, failed to make a higher high, and then just melted to the downside. Okay, so if I'm going to look at what I may be expecting for this session, obviously sales would be high probability. Okay, but where to sell from? So ideally I probably might want to see this high taken. Okay, this high taken. We sweep this, maybe mitigate these areas as well, and then maybe I could start looking for those highs. However, this is also an Asia high, so that is not a high probability area to sell from as well. So that makes it a bit tricky. So you could just decide to wait. Could decide to wait and see how price develops, and then on the bullish side, another way to look at it is internally. This is the range that we're in internally, and then this was the last break of structure. Okay, this was the last break of structure internally. So this becomes our decisional, and price could come in, mitigate this area, and may possibly continue with the move. Okay, this is the extreme, but this extreme I'm not confident with it because we also have relative equal lows. So price could equally as well, if it breaks this internal decisional, we could see price come down, sweep these areas as well, and then only then maybe that's when we could see price start to push up. Okay, so these will be the scenarios here that are more likely to play out at the moment. Okay, now these will be counter swing, counter internal, so they may not be the highest probability trade at the moment, but if we're just trying to catch quick trades, you could still look at it that the internal range is bearish and then the sub-internal range is bullish. So if we are buying, we are sort of buying pro internal, even though it's counter the main internal range that we're in. So it's just layers of price, so it may seem a bit confusing, but it's just layers of price. Looking at it the same way, just zooming in deeper and deeper. So this is what we have. So price has indeed mitigated the extreme. We are in the extreme of this internal range. So if this internal range is to continue, we expect price to start pushing towards this weak internal low. Okay. So sales would be the high probability trades. So we'll only, at least we'll have some kind of confirmation of that if we break these lows. Yeah, so right now sells are the way to go, but we don't have clean areas to look at selling from, so that's a bit tricky. Okay, but anyway, those are my trade ideas for today. So if you do like this material, please don't forget to like, to subscribe, leave a comment, and share. And I will post a link as well. Do support the channel. Do support if you like this material. I am going to be launching New York session analysis as well, doing live streams. So if you want to be part and parcel of those live streams and be part of a Discord community as well, where we can then discuss some of the ideas and help each other in our trading, then please don't forget to click on the link below in the description. That will also help in terms of supporting this channel and supporting what I'm doing. So other than that, have a great day, and Working Trader out.